Hello, fans, and welcome back to our season preview series for the 2014-15 academic year. My name is Jack Zola, Director of Athletic Communications here at Molloy College, and we welcome back head men's soccer coach Danny Longo. Danny, thanks again for taking the time after you discussed the women's team with us.
No worries at all. Thanks for having me, Jack.
All right, so in sort of the same vein, let's throw the same questions at you. With the men's preseason so far, what has been your main takeaway this year?
You know what? Seasons past, I think we've had not issues, but some kids were fit and some kids weren't fit, and they didn't all buy in, and you had different personalities. This group so far has been an absolute pleasure to train up to this point. Like I've told them on numerous occasions, and I'm being honest, I don't think, and it may be my least talented team at this point, but I think it's probably going to be my most successful team because as a group, they worked their butts off, they worked together, they had a great off season this summer. I mean, we had 8, 10, 12 kids 4 days a week training on their own here at school, which really makes for a big, help when it comes down to preseason. So we started, day one, our times in our tests were much, much better than they've been in years past from top to bottom.
All right, great. And then let's jump right into that team that you're talking about. Let's talk about your roster going position by position. Again, who you think will have an impact, some key players, maybe some inside insight into what fans can look for. So let's start with the defenders.
Defenders, the first kid that pops up who's been pretty much a 3-year starter and actually was named captain in the spring is Dane Levy. Kid from Florida, came here, has been tremendous since he got here. He started initially at center back, moved over the right back. He's got an engine, goes up and down, and he's a quiet leader. He doesn't have much of a vocal presence, but when he gets mad, he's got a big vocal presence and everybody pays attention. So he's our main returner back there. A kid that I'm excited about is Steven Jimenez. Came in here quite a few years ago now. I want to say it's 4 years ago. Was good straight away as a freshman, but had been coming off a torn ACL, and then he ended up tearing his ACL again and really hasn't been able to be on the field. But I think he has more of a vocal presence, not big in stature size-wise, but mentally and organizing-wise, he has a big presence for us. As well in the back, we have Ryan Fackner, who's going to be a junior, George Sinacor. Both of them played a lot of minutes last year, and they're going to add depth and a lot of help in the back. Kyle Brennan, coming off a torn ACL, is a big 6'4" center back. I think could really help us if he gets cleared and ready to go. And then the last two kids are two freshmen, Chris Michella and Dale McNevin. I think both are going to be impact for us straight away. Probably one start, potentially both of them start, but I think both of them are going to push for minutes throughout the year.
All right, and then can you please move on to your forwards and midfielders on the men's side?
Midfielders are pretty easy for the simple fact that we have 2 out of the 3 returning in the middle that started last year in Lester Franco, a.k.a. Snoop, and Hamza Ilamani, who's a junior college transfer last year. He had won 2 Division I junior college transfers from Tyler, Texas, national championships, and he comes over here this year. I honestly think in our first 2 preseason friendlies, he's been better than any one game that he's had last year. I think last year he came in, he was just getting used to it. He was just another player. We had a lot of talent, we had a lot of personalities, but we had a lot of talent, and he fit in, where now he's stepped up and really been a leader on the field. And then the third guy in that mix in the middle of the park, at this point, is Joey Pinto, who's played wide for a while. Joey was also named captain in the spring, and he's just, a pleasure to coach. He's a great kid. He'll do anything I ask without a question and bust his butt all over the field. Another kid in the mix in that middle is Stephen Palomini. He might end up playing a little bit more out wide instead of the middle, but another kid, what he's become from his freshman year now to his junior year is tremendous. So those 4 kids will probably be the main 4 in the midfield, but we have a couple of pleasant surprises. Anthony Pasilico played for us for 2 years, took a year off in his back, and his attitude and his work rate is light years better than it was when he was here a couple of years back. Lucio Sordo came in, sat out his freshman year, played a little bit last year, and has really made a big jump this year to get a lot more minutes. So I mean, I think I'm happy with our midfield. I think we're going to be pretty successful in the middle of the park. As for forwards, we lost pretty much all our scoring. So we're asking some kids that didn't play a lot of minutes last year to give us a lot. In Ibrahima Diarra, Christopher Ernest, the two of them find a way to score. We also have up top. I mentioned Anthony Basilico in the middle of midfield or out wide midfield. I think he's going to give us some major minutes up top as well. And then a kid that DJ Hunter. This kid, you don't expect much when you watch him in training. Technically, not very sound or not always that sound. And then 2 minutes later comes up with a great touch and a great finish. But you cannot teach this kid's speed and this kid's work rate. I mean, this kid is an animal. And he forces you to keep him on the field. So I think he's really going to cause a lot of teams trouble. And then the one kid that we brought in is a kid by the name of Lucas Munoz, who's just a class player, a class finisher. He needs to have a little guy, some guys to work around him, help him work a little bit, because he does work in his 5 yards, here, 5 yards there, but he needs somebody to work with him. And when he's on the field, he's going to be dangerous. I expect a lot of goals from him, and I think he expects it too.
And finally, the goalkeepers.
Goalkeepers, I mean, we've had, our stapling goal for the last 3 years, Justin Cork, Jesse, everybody calls him, who's tremendous, on any given day. Unfortunately, we haven't won as many games as we've wanted to for the last couple of years, but I would take this kid over any goalkeeper in the league, and that's no disrespect to any other team's goalkeepers. But I mean, this kid is a gamer. He trains hard. He plays hard. The kid is tremendous, and where he came from, as a freshman to now is unbelievable. What he came in weight wise, what he came in look wise. I mean, I expect a big season from him. And then Steven Tapetto, we brought in to be his backup because we haven't really had a backup the last couple of years. And let me tell you, this kid has been a pleasant surprise. I watched him the week before we had preseason. I watched him at a camp and saw him play, and it was like, wow, he's even better than we anticipated. And then he's been great, and not even good. He's been great since he stepped on the field for us, which is good because it's helped Jesse, push Jesse. Not that he's going to be our starter as a freshman, but I really think that Steven is going to be a solid backup. If he needs to get on the field, we'll have no problems putting him there. And I think moving forward, I think he's going to have a successful career as the starting keeper here at Molloy.
All right, great. Thanks for that inside look into your roster. With that roster, what are the expectations that you discuss with your team and your coaching staff as you get ready to head into the season, whether they're individually or for your squad as a whole?
I mean, I think similar to the women that we want to make the conference playoffs. There's no automatic bid, and sometimes in the men's game it's a little different because to keep kids focused when they know that they're out of the tournament and this, that, and the other is sometimes an issue. Although, with this team I don't think it's ever going to be an issue because they just work their tails off. But, I look back, I look at year to year how we've been, and I've seen the talent that we've had, and we've been, you look at our games, we're in every game, and we just don't find a way to win. And I honestly think that it's the attitude and the personnel that we've had is why we haven't gotten through those tight games. The group, like I said earlier, I don't think that we have the most talent in the world, but I don't think one team we play this year will outwork us. And I think with that alone, we will win those games that we haven't been able to win. And because of that, I think that we're really going to push to make the conference playoffs. And, once you make the NCAA tournament once, and I know it's back in 08, it's a long time ago, and prior to me being here, I made it in 06 as a coach as well. That's really what your goal is, even though we haven't been there. So it would be a huge jump to get to that point. But if there's ever a team to get there, this is the team. It's going to be a huge start next Thursday against St. Rose, and it starts the first game of the year. If you come out flat and you struggle, it's an uphill fight. But if you come out and get a result, you have a little bit of breathing room. We got a couple of days off, and we'll come back against Merrimack, and you're going to be you're trying to be 2-0. But it really starts. We're not looking ahead to Merrimack or to Adelphi in the second or third game. St. Rose is the game we're focused on, and if we come out and play hard, that'll start the season in the right foot.
All right, Coach. And then finally, before we let you go, You spoke about getting to the ECC Championship tournament. So can you please speak about those ECC clubs that you're going to have to go up against this year?
Yeah, the men's side is a little different because I'm a little bit on the regional committee and I'm on the NCAA committee, so I know a lot of the teams in and out and who almost made the NCAA tournament, who did make the NCAA tournament. I mean, the ECC on both sides, but we're talking about the men, has really closed the gap. I mean, when I first took over at my prior school, there were games that you would step out there and knew you were going to win. From there to now, I want to say that was 2000, now we're 2014, 14 years. I mean, the ECC has really become a major conference from top to bottom. There's never a game that you step on the field and expect to win. If you look at the results, every game is pretty much a tight one. When you look at the top dogs, you have to put LIU Post right at the top for the simple fact that they've been there the last 2 years. Yes, they've lost quite a few players, but knowing Andreas, I'm sure he's retooled with bigger and better. Dowling College made the NCAA tournament last year. New York Tech made the NCAA tournament last year. Queens College, Mercy College were right on the outside looking in. UDC is always the team that nobody really knows about that I expect. Matt Thompson's a great coach. He's been to the tournament a couple of times at 2 other schools, so I expect them to be in the mix. And I'm sure I'm missing schools. Bridgeport, I mean, every year Quinny has those guys going. And then you got the schools upstate, again, that we don't really know about, Damon and Roberts Wesleyan, that, Damon's first year in the league, they're going to be a lot better in the second year, just knowing what to expect. And then Roberts Wesleyan came in the first year and did some damage, and then last year took a little bit of a back seat, but I expect them to jump as well. St. Thomas Aquinas, I mean, I could name every team in the league. No matter who you name, every team is in the mix. So the ECC men's side, I think, is hopefully gets 3 teams again to the NCAA tournament and does as well as we did this past year.
All right, well, it looks to be shaping up to be a fun and highlight-filled year on the soccer field for the East Coast Conference this year. All right, folks, that will wrap it up for the 2014 men's soccer season preview with head coach Danny Longo. As Coach Longo mentioned, remember, fans, that the Lions kick off their season on September 4th when they play the College of St. Rose. Danny, thanks again for joining us. We always appreciate it.
Thanks, Jack.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone. And remember, united, we are Molloy Lions.